So hello, good day. I'm Agnes as Campehios, and today I'm gonna report about the sulfur cycle. So first we have the learning objectives. First, define what is sulfur, and second, discuss the sulfur cycle. Third, determine the importance of sulfur cycle. So, what is sulfur? So, sulfur is the 10th most abundant element on the Earth's surface, which is found in different forms in the rocks and soil. So, sulfur is released from rocks through weathering and then assimilated by microbes and plants. And sulfur is essential to all living things. It is taken up as sulfate from the soil or seawater by plants and algae. It is used to make two of the essential amino acids needed to make proteins. It is also needed in some coenzymes. The average human contains 140 grams and takes in about 1 gram a day, mainly in proteins. So, sulfur occurs naturally the element, as the element, often in volcanic areas. This has traditionally been a major source for human use. It is also widely found in many minerals, including iron pyrites, galena, gypsum, and Epsom salts. So, elemental sulfur was once commercially recovered from wells by the Frost process. So, this involved forcing superheated steam into the underground deposits to melt the sulfur so it could be pumped to the surface as a liquid. So modern sulfur production is almost entirely from the various purification processes used to remove sulfur from natural gas, oil, and tar sands. So all living things from and contain sulfur and when fossilized or as in fossil fuels, this sulfur remains present. So if unpurified fossil fuels are burned, sulfur dioxide can enter the atmosphere, leading to acid rain. So next, we have the sulfur cycle. So as what you can see, this is the sulfur cycle, this one. The sulfur cycle is a biogeochemical cycle consists of various processes that together enable the movement of sulfur through different reservoirs like the atmosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, and lithosphere. So here we have, excuse us. So the sulfur cycle describes the movement of sulfur through the atmosphere, mineral forms, and through living things. Although sulfur is primarily found in the sedimentary rocks or seawater, it is particularly important to living things because it is a component of many proteins. So sulfur reserves are found in the lithosphere and are released by weathering. So in addition, hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide gas is released into the atmosphere by volcanic eruptions, hot springs, and the decay of biological material in swamps and bogs. So atmospheric sulfur is found in the form of sulfur dioxide and enters the atmosphere in three ways: from the decomposition of organic molecules, from volcanic activity and the geothermal vents, and from the burning of fossil fuels by humans. So on land, sulfur is deposited in four major ways. So this is precipitation, direct fallout from the atmosphere, rock weathering, and geothermal vents. So atmospheric sulfur is found in the form of sulfur dioxide. As rain falls through the atmosphere, sulfur is dissolved in the form of weak sulfuric acid. So sulfur can also fall directly from the atmosphere in a process called fallout. Then also, weathering of sulfur-containing rocks releases sulfur into the soil. So these rocks originate from ocean sediments, as what we can see, that are moved to land by the geologic uplifting of ocean sediments. So terrestrial ecosystems can then make use of these soil sulfates. And upon the death and decomposition of these organisms, release the sulfur back into the atmosphere as hydrogen sulfide gas. So animals in turn get sulfur by eating the plants, and they release sulfur when they decay. So as animals decay, they release sulfate, salts, and hydrogen sulfide. So sulfur enters the ocean via runoff from land and from atmospheric fallout and from underwater geothermal vents. So some ecosystems rely on chemoautotrophs, using sulfur as a biological energy source. This sulfur then supports marine ecosystems in the form of sulfates. So, and then like any other cycle, it just keeps going around and around. So, next slide, we have the importance of wait. The importance of sulfur cycle. So first we have sulfur is an essential element that is an important component of biomolecules like proteins and nucleic acids. So thus the understanding of sulfur cycle enables the understanding of the biomolecules and their functions. And then sulfur is found in nature in a combined state with other elements like nitrogen, iron, and phosphorus. So the sulfur cycle also affects the availability of other elements. And then mineralization of sulfur acts as a natural waste system or helps in the recycling of sulfur compounds. Then, understanding the mechanism of the sulfur cycle helps to understand the physiology of different microorganisms involved in the process. Lastly, the sulfur cycle is essential as it balances the concentration of sulfur in different reservoirs so as to make the earth a hospitable place for life. So then the next slide is the references and the references and sources. These are the links or the sources that I have that I use in my discussion. And that would be all for my report.